Hello, my name is Gary Shotton, and in this lesson I'm going to talk about building a strong foundation. You know, the Word of God is my guide for my major decisions in my life, and I'm very open about that. And I discovered that there's a lot of good lessons in the Word of God that apply to business, and we have to look a little bit closer than it just doesn't say business and money all the time. It really refers to life the way we live it. And life has many aspects, but almost all parts of life include finances and monies. And we're not trying to make everyone that's listening here to be a business owner with 50 employees and kind of that unique call to business, but everyone is responsible for making monies enough for their own household. And maybe you as an individual has a job and it's not quite meeting enough money. Or maybe you can't find a job. In many countries, jobs are not very readily available. So you might have to step out enough to create what's called a lifestyle business. A business made with your hands and your mind that will create enough money that you have a way to live. And there's actually a number of businesses that forever are best stopped at just you and your family or small number of employees, and there's nothing wrong with that. Well, all of us need to build a strong foundation if we're going to build any size business. But I want to talk about those that are going to build a bigger business, a stronger business. Now, my graduation from college put me into as an engineer in mineral processing, and that put me with my first job in heavy construction, where guess what? I was responsible to design and build strong foundations for a building and then the mineral processing equipment that was going into that building. And I was responsible to know the building codes, and then I also was able to determine what the weight was of everything that was going to press down onto the soil, onto the foundation. And then we actually calculated what we call the worst case scenario. If everything went wrong and we had these tanks that were full of heavy minerals, and would it withstand the test of that overload of minerals? Well, we required a foundation. If there's going to be a heavy wind that comes from the side, we had what's called a 100-year wind load. Or we had snow based on the last 100 years. What was the heaviest snow that was going to be on the roof? All of this came to determine how to build, first of all, the foundation. Well, in Matthew chapter 7, verse 24, 25, and 26, it talks about building a house on a strong foundation. You can read it. It's very understandable, and it says a wise man is considered wise when, in considering building a house, they pick and build and create a strong foundation. Because when the winds come and the destructions come and heavy elements of weather come to it, in one version I read, it must be strong enough to be what's called an unshakable foundation. Well, that's true in building your business. You know, if you want a business of any size, and even including a small business, you want to have a strong foundation. I was fortunate to be with my wife in the city of Seattle, Washington, and I happened to have a second or third floor room at a hotel, and I looked out my window just gazing, and I looked down, and I said, oh my goodness, that's one of the biggest holes in the ground that I've ever seen. It was square, and it went down at least 20 meters, at least 70 feet, maybe 90 feet. And you know what? I knew right away there's going to be one big building right next to this motel, this motel, because they're spending months and months and months putting in the rebar and the steel and the concrete and pouring thousands and thousands of dollars to make this foundation strong. And it would take time before even they get back up to ground level. Well, that's true in your business. If you're going to have a bigger business or you're any phase, don't expect it to produce right away, because building the foundation is going to take some time. And when you build the foundation stronger and stronger at each level, then you're able to go higher and higher in your business. Well, the rest of Matthew 7 in that section talks about a foolish person, a foolish man doesn't build on the solid foundation, but the rock, but builds on sand. And when the elements come, the winds come, the forces of nature come against that house, guess what? It collapses. Well, let me give you some example of businesses that collapse. People that built their business on sand, they didn't take the time to build a good foundation. Well, here comes pandemic. Oh, no one expected pandemic. No one anticipated that, but those that had a strong foundation are more able to make it through that in a good condition. But those that built too fast, expanded too fast, had too many loans, and didn't know the other elements of God's way to do business, they're in trouble. That was a strong wind. That is a strong wind right now. Or there's other things. Maybe just the economy drops for any other reason. Or maybe you have someone that's working for you that now a key person embezzles some money from you, and they try to affect your other workers in the way they leave with your money, and saying bad things about you, how rotten you are. Or maybe you had the biggest and best customer, and that customer went away. Wow, there's some storms, there's some difficulties, there's some unfortunate things. And is your business established on an unshakable foundation? Guess what? I've had all of those things that I just mentioned happen. I can give you details when somebody embezzled to me. When I was in my most vulnerable position, this person stole money, went to the bank, wrote checks to themselves, and left town and left me holding the bag. I can tell you when I was going well in my current business, and the year 2009 came, which was a very bad year for business for most people in manufacturing, and I lost all of my three biggest customers. I lost two of them 100%. Not a single job came. And then my third one gave me what we call just a few jobs just to keep us alive. I had to do what I had to do to make it through that. And guess what? When I came through both of those, I came through them a stronger company. I came through gaining experience. We'd like to think that we're going to get experience when everything's going well. I gained more experience, more personal knowledge of business when those two things happened, because I was able to maneuver the companies in two different times in my life, two different companies that I owned at different times, and I was able to get through that with hard work, seeking the Lord. But I learned lessons when I was in the tough times, not when I was in the great, easy to go times. That's true with all of us. So I encourage you, build your foundation. Build it as strong and deep as you can. And you know, if you build a foundation and you want to go deeper, you ought to stop a little bit and then build and expand your foundation first. Don't just jump into the next phase when you haven't expanded your foundation, and then go to the next level. You hear us talk about it. Go step by step, level by level, level by level. Learn business at every level. Thanks for being a part of Inspiring Better Business.